rivers of Babylon. There we sat down, yea, we wept, when we remembered.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. This is Elder Gocc,
Brother Shapat.
here with the Hebrew and Bible Academy Week 3 news. We have the news this week. Of course, you see a lot of things going on in the earth right now. Prophecies being fulfilled, the scriptures being fulfilled, and of course, we have to keep a keen watch on the news and the government news agenda, because usually news is usually a resource used by government to control the population or to acquiesce the whole world's population into their agendas and impositions. We're here week 2. Shapat, what you got in the news today?
All right. Shalom, brothers and sisters. As you mentioned, it's pretty hard to go a week without reporting on these Sodomites. So without any further ado,
Sodom Watch.
Right.
What we
First
have
up here. This is from RussiaToday.com. It says, demented judge in the UK rules pedophile can walk free so he can have children of his own.
Say that again.
Yeah. So, demented judge in the UK rules pedophile can walk free.
A pedophile can walk free
So he can have children of his own.
so he can have children of his own. So, I don't know what's going on over there in the UK. Of course, we hear these stories in the news over and over again of how these high elected officials and those that are in positions of authority are being bused for pornography, child pornography, pedophilia, and all these things.
Right.
But these stories are not just out in the open like it is in the UK, where these judges are being exposed to this degree. I'm seeing this it should be alarming rate anywhere, but it's actually being discussed amongst the population in the UK, as far as judges and others being busted for child pedophilia.
It's the whole so-called Western way of thinking. You understand? It's you have, as you're mentioning, the discussions and talks and so on. These so-called elite universities are now pushing the idea that pedophilia is a so-called sexual preference, just like homosexuality, as they claim.
And you notice that's what so-called sodomites or homosexuals try to hide. They look to hide or try to untie that connection between pedophilia and homosexuality.
Right.
When common sense will tell you that pedophilia is the entry into that type of deviant behavior. Mm-hmm. Why? Because no one with an affection towards the opposite, as they quote unquote put it, the opposite sex. You don't start that affection as an adult. Okay? Like when you grow up, young guys is running around and you're tagging the girls and seeing the girl you like and all that. I know when I grew up, there was an attraction, as growing up. Right. So for them to make the population believe that these children or you become an adult before you develop these feelings, okay, is asinine. Think about it. I want you to think about it for a second, right? If the conversation comes up, right, that this started or this behavior was at an adolescence or a young age, then pedophilia comes into the discussion, because you have to ask, well, okay, when was the first time this happened to you?
Right.
And usually these affections happen from an older person who was perverted. Okay? And see, they look to untie that. They look to disconnect that predatorial behavior that comes with being a sodomite. And it's not just the male sodomites, okay? The lesbians are even more aggressive against our young sisters. They're even more aggressive.
Especially in the sports arena.
In the sports arena, that's how they lure the young ladies in, or they bully the young ladies. See, and a lot of this is not being discussed, that these sodomites, they're the most bullish, disrespectful, hateful people with unnatural affection, not just against the Most High, but against anyone. It's a very, very ugly spirit. Now, we're not trying to attack anyone personally. We're just saying it's a nasty behavior spirit of predatoring, of bullying, that's ignored. Why? Because now they are protected under the civil rights our forefathers died for.
Right.
They're protected by the government. They're protected by the Zionists. So they can do anything they want, say what they want, rape, do all types of evil with no recourse. But I'm glad this coming out in the UK. So what's the judgment on this judge?
Well, there's no judgment on the judge, but he's allowing this judge, like many judges, you understand, the legal system is set up that way to allow, when these cases of pedophilia and so on come into their courts, the system is set up such that the judge's hands, they claim, are tied to let the pedophiles go. And here's the detail here. It says, although the 41-year-old faced up to 5 years in prison for his crimes, and I want to pause right there because that alone isn't enough. But check out what happened with this 5-year sentence. Okay. Recorder Martin Butterworth let him off with a 10-month sentence, which was suspended for 2 years. So he spent 0 time in jail after hearing about his desire to start a family. So the pedophile was sentenced to 5 years in prison for something which puts a danger with
a child
him.
at risk.
Exactly. A child is at risk being in close proximity to this individual. And the judge says, you know what? I'm not going to put you in jail and to take you away from abusing children. Why?
Because you want to start a family.
Yeah, because you want children of your own.
Lord have mercy. Lord. See what's going on? On another note, I don't know if this is part of your story. Are you reporting on this storm, this hurricane?
No.
I wanted to put this out there with this so-called hurricane, how they're using the weather as a cover for a serious drill, putting military on the ground. So they're using, I wanted to transition into that because it's real time what's going on right now. You notice that the government news and the local news stations along the eastern borders, okay, the eastern coast, are fear-mongering. Okay, they have evacuated places and all that for no reason. Now, why? Because all these areas on the eastern borders are used to storms.
Right.
The houses are built for the storms, and usually the people weather the storms. And they actually move into these particular areas, understanding the risk. But now, why every storm that comes now, the president must issue an executive order for every storm now, saying category 4. And guess what, lawyer? We spoke to Fresnel in Florida. What did they say?
Said nothing happened.
Nothing happen.
Wow.
Now, what is good about this is when the church understood that the fear mongering was going on, brothers and sisters in those areas who were single or didn't have no family or who didn't want to feel alone during an emergency, knowing that they could do anything under the cover of a storm, the church got together and families got together in preparation to wait out the storm, if there was a serious issue. So the good thing about it is the church used it as a drill for an emergency, but all in all, I was, all week I was telling Lawyer, I'm like, man, this ain't nothing going to happen. It's nothing like they're saying. It's total fear mongering and a reason for the government under a cover to put military on the ground. And that's what's really going on. And Katrina is a perfect example of what happened in Katrina. See, they blew the levees in Katrina for a drill so that now the people can have a public outcry for government to assist if something like that was to happen again. Now you have military and all that as part of the answer based on FEMA's failure.
Right.
Well, the FEMA's failure in Katrina was on purpose so that they can do what they're doing now. When a regular storm comes, they can put military on the ground.
Right.
And then the military now, what's that? That's martial law. Okay, when the U.S. Coast Guard is called on the ground to control, it's not about the weather. It's about protecting property and giving full power to the government over the state, where the president is commander in chief and they can kill anywhere they want under the cover of these so-called storms and claim, well, it happened. That was a casualty of the storm.
Right.
See, so we wanted to make sure that if it was going to happen, that at least the church would get with brothers and sisters in all along the coast, and they would be together, so that so what's going on under the cover of the storm can be recorded. See, what they would like to do is separate everyone, have everyone's family separated, and knock on one door at a time and say, okay, you leave and evacuate this way. It was a lie. There was no category 4. Okay. Now the other thing is, look what's going on with our brothers and sisters in Haiti. Levi, why do you think they're destroying Haiti like this, brothers and sisters? Okay, the Clintons are behind this. Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. Now, can they make storms? Well, when I see her, she looked like everyone knows she's one of the top witches on earth. So I'm not claiming she's making a storm. But the Clinton Foundation owned all the resources in Haiti. And yes, storms come through Haiti. But why can't they build proper housing so that when storms come, it don't take the people? It's as if they want the people to be destroyed in storms. Now, keep in mind, Haiti is on the same island as who? The Dominican Republic. So how is the same storm coming through those areas and only killing Haitians?
Right.
They don't want to put proper housing in certain areas. They need the casualty count to go up. More military on the ground, resources. Guess what? They got gold. They got all types of rich resources that Levi is sitting on over there in Haiti. And they're killing our people under the cover of storms. And yes, when a storm is developed, they do have the HARP system that can move storms in certain areas. They don't have full control of it. It depends on what area it is, because sometimes the storm can calm down before it gets to a certain area. But if it's up there and it's near coast, they can use HARP, frequency waves, to do what? Help push a storm that's already developed. So,
if I can mention something
also
on the whole storm thing and all that, there's two things that come to my mind with these, like you mentioned, Katrina, and what they're doing now with this new one. They move people into these, what they call them, fusion centers, or the big domes, the big stadiums.
Exactly.
So that was like one form of FEMA. And then the other thing was, which most of the time goes unreported in the so-called mainstream media, and that is the fact that they were taking the guns. That was another way for them to come in and just take people's guns because of a so-called emergency.
So all of these emergencies and scenarios that the government has developed has one thing in common at the end of all of them. No guns. So because it's illegal to really go against the guns based on the fact that the Constitution says you have the right to bear arms. They weren't talking about us because we were enslaved when they signed that. We were in slavery when they signed that piece of trash. But because that trash was developed, called the Constitution, okay, they can't outright say that all of your laws are taken. So they have to make little mandates and little stealth laws to take guns, like the fake child shooting of Sandy Hook, which was a fake shooting that they copied from Dublin in England. That was a fake shooting. Columbine was a fake shooting. All of these shootings are fake. The South Carolina church shooting with the white guy was a fake shooting. Right. All of these are fake shootings so that they can propagandize security from the population, which is the right to bear arms. Now, you can't take someone, you're not looking to take someone guns or to disarm a population if you're not looking to do what? Engage that population. If they weren't looking to engage the population, they wouldn't care about the guns that's legal to hold within the United States. So that's a military tactic. You must disarm your enemy. See? So the world population is an enemy to the UN without us even knowing. They're looking to disarm. So all of their scenarios, whether it be mental health, leads to what? Well, because this doctor claimed that you're unfit with a mental disorder, you can't get a gun. Well, you have the right to get one, but because you're mentally unsound, so what they do, they fit the narrative with a kook who was mentally challenged or had a mental disorder. So this is how they framing this narrative. Well, you can't fly, and who's ever on the no-fly list can't get a gun. So they make sure every story fits that narrative perfectly. Right. That doesn't sound suspicious to you? At the end of all of these so-called emergencies to make us quote-unquote safe, they take the guns from the population. All of these were fake shootings. Don't believe none of it. And like I said, you fall for any of it, you fall for all of it. Okay? At the end of all of that, whether it be if a storm comes, if an earthquake comes, no guns. Okay? If and with the mental health thing real quick, because I know we have a few more, but with the mental health thing. Well, what happens if half of the population is on psychotropes like in America? Like all of the pills they're giving out, all of it have suicidal thoughts in it. You notice that? So they're putting one dose of crazy medicine that they tested in the psych wards in the 90s. They're putting that as a preservative or an additive to all the medication that they're giving, what? Over the counter, and also what they're giving in prescriptions. So half of the population is mentally disturbed. Why? You taking a pill for one thing and you're going through all these mental issues, and you go speak to your doctor and they be like, you know what? You need to go see a psychiatrist. You go see a psychiatrist, they be like, okay, well, yeah, you have this, you have PSAD or attention deficit disorder, all these letters that means absolutely nothing. So they now give you a mental disorder, and through that mental disorder, you don't even know because of the database that was placed for Obamacare, that now you on a database throughout the whole United States. No matter where you go, your right to have a gun has already been revoked. Okay? That's how it works. They'll look at the spreadsheet and say, well, you went to a psychiatrist and they said that you were diagnosed with this. You didn't know that it was in your medication for sneezing. Okay? You just had a cold. Okay? But now through that, because it's on the books, they'd be like, well, listen, we're not taking your rights. We just have to investigate this and wait and see and have a doctor come back with a better diagnosis that you'll never receive. And guess what? You'll get your gun permit when that doctor says it's okay for you to have a gun. They're disarming the population. Wake up. And I'm going to say this. Christ says, hey, sell your cloak and get a sword. Okay? I'm an advocate for self-defense. All right? Christ was an advocate for self-defense. As a matter of fact, if it wasn't time for Christ to go, they wouldn't have taken him. Okay? Because soon as that centurion came after Christ, what happened? Boom. Peter came down with the sword. But Christ healed the centurion's ear and say, listen, it's not time for war. Okay? So Christ had armed people. He had all that. So he was in defense around him. So who shouldn't be an advocate of defense? To defend yourself.
Right.
Okay? Come on, let's go.
Next up, in regular news, and it's kind of crazy that you mentioned about the mental health and the suicidal thoughts, side effects and all that, right?
Yeah.
Check this out. So this is a 3-in-1 special. Starting off with, check this top one. This is Paxil, right? First one from prweb.com. The top left corner is the image for this part of this particular article.
Okay, what is this?
It says jury awards $11.9 million in a Paxil suicide malpractice case.
What you mean? So they award almost what? 12 million.
12 million. In a nutshell, what they're trying to spin it, when you read into the article, they're trying to spin it and say, okay, this person was locked up, I believe, and basically they were weaned off of this medication, Paxil, the one you see on your screen.
Okay.
And they were only supposed to get 10 milligrams, okay? Hadn't taken it for 4 days, had withdrawal symptoms from not having the medication, was put back on and was given a dose of 30 milligrams. So that's where they're trying to spin it and say, okay, because there was a malpractice and he was given the wrong dose, he committed suicide. But the truth and reality is these pills,
it was the
make
medication
you commit suicide.
So they claim that it was the wrong dose. The incorrect dose did it, so that now they can protect themselves from liability. Which means if it would have been in the proper dose, it wouldn't have made them crazy. Right. But at what dose of anything that's good for us is not good for us? When you understand? Like dandelion root. I can drink that all day long and I'll be fine. At any dose. Okay? So what's good for you, there's no limit for. So that's a lie. It's a cover because this drug is crazy medicine.
Right.
Okay? I've never seen so many adverts or advertisements for prescription drugs and all that mess like I've seen since, flying into Babylon. Oh, it's crazy. Behind every drug or medication or pharmacy or sorcery pill they have, there is a warning of if you have suicidal thoughts. It doesn't matter what the treatment is for, what the symptom is. Right. It can be your leg. It can be, if you have trouble sleeping. It can be if you got bruised and got a medication or whatever. It can be if you have joint pain. But at the end of every advertisement, Humana, I keep on saying this Humana drug they have, right? For depression, they claim. Not only do you get suicidal thoughts and nightmares, there's a risk of you getting blood cancer. How can that be a side effect? And I'm saying this, brothers and sisters, we are under attack, okay? When the Bible says wars and rumor of wars, it wasn't just speaking of the physical wars. We're warring on every level. Right.
Check this out. It says all antidepressants can cause suicidal and homicidal behavior.
Now, how can an antidepressant have a side effect of you killing yourself? So how did it fix your depression? Right. Oh, you died. No more depression. Come on.
It can also cause stimulation or activation, including, akathisia, insomnia, and mania.
In mania. And I'm going to tell you, it's a shame. It's a shame how I would say naive, but it's under naive. Naive is being respectful. It's naive. The mindset of our people and the people that's out there, not just our people, with this blind trust for government and medication and their doctors, it's sick. It's absolutely crazy, brothers and sisters, because we'll try to warn people and talk to them about it, and we'll become the enemy after tipping them off and looking to warn them, letting them know, listen, they're trying to kill you. And we'll say something. They'll be like, you're not a doctor. Who are you? We're like, brother, Shapat and I were walking through a market the other day. A guy had a tumor on his head that went past his ear on his he was on his right side.
Yeah.
It was on his right side of his ear. It was past, the tumor was this big, and you would never guess what he was doing. He was talking on the cell phone with the same side of the tumor. It's like the tumor made a pocket where the cell phone can snugly fit in between his ear in a tumor. Right? So you would have thought that the doctor that he went to would ask the first question, do you use a cell phone? You understand? But if we would have kept, here's a shame, because I wanted so bad to just run and grab the brother and say, brother, move that cell phone from your head. It didn't cause a tumor on your head. But I knew that even if I were to warn or talk to him about it, he would have been totally offended. That's the naivety of our people, man. Totally naive. You understand? So if I would have went to the brother, he'd be like, brother, who are you? My doctor, my doctor didn't say this. So never use Bluetooth. Never use none of that stuff. Use an analog, plug in your earphone and use an analog earphone in your ear. I never put those things to my head. It's like sticking your head in a microwave, okay? And see, Mac got an idea for you. They want you to now put plugs, Bluetooth on both sides of your ear.
Right. And you've seen the technology, how it works, right? Only one of the earbuds has the Bluetooth receiver and the other ear doesn't. So, but they've got a separate technology which will send the signal from one earbud to the other.
So that means the signal is going through your brain from one side to the other, frying your brain.
Exactly.
Why? It's all targeting the brain, where the spirit is, the temple, so that now they can diagnose someone as what? Crazy. And then through that diagnosis, no gun. See how it all adds up? So all the government is talking about now is mental health, mental health, mental health. Well, guess what? They know the mental health would have an uptick. Why? Because the next agenda is to target our brains. That's where the temple is, right here. That's the mind. That's where our spirit lies. That's our connection. This is our antenna to the Most High during the time of our awakening.
Check this out.
Come on.
On the targeting of the brain, right?
Yes.
Still within this, it's actually 3 articles I've put in to try and make one. The second part, you see the guy, the baby on the left?
Yeah.
Okay, title. This is from RussiaToday.com. CDC, mysterious paralysis causing syndrome appears to be on the rise. Okay, so the Center of Death Creation, the CDC.
Yeah.
Symptoms include facial droop or weakness, droopy eyelids, difficulty swallowing, and slurred speech. And you also have the man on the right. He can't walk anymore.
Why is that?
These are results of vaccinations.
Vaccines.
Okay, and the last part of this is, there's no image to this. The last part is, what's this from? lifestylemagazine.com, and it's titled "Nursing Student Expelled," not suspended, for a few days or whatever, expelled, permanently removed.
Nursing student expelled for what reason?
For questioning directives to use threats, lies, to coerce patients to vaccinate. So she was taught ways to manipulate parents, how to vaccinate their children by using lies.
So because she refused to lie to the parents, being in a trusting profession, see, that's total deceit.
Right.
Nurses and doctors and all of that that's a trusted profession. Okay? So here it is, a nurse and someone that's going to school, because based on, usually when you're in these areas, you grow up wanting to be a nurse or a doctor to do what? To help people. Right. So she said, well, hold up. Anyone with common sense will look at this paper on this training and say, well, hold up. Isn't this a lie to trick the mothers into vaccinating and brain killing their children?
Right.
Isn't this a lie? And guess what? They kicked her out of school. Like, listen, if you're not into lying, okay, you got to get up out of here, because that's all we do here. Mm-hmm. Because there's no parent in their right mind going to shoot this death up into their children if we told them the truth, okay? Okay, there's a rise of cancers. There's a rise of autoimmune deficiencies, multiple sclerosis, lupus, shingles, and on and on and on, and all these different diseases, and no one is relating it to the entry point, vaccines, okay? So they have to lie to the mother. The pediatrician is a bold-faced liar. And then they got chemotherapy medicine and prenatal pills. You sit there rubbing your stomach, talking about, oh, the baby ain't feeling good today. You're killing your baby, giving it prenatal pills. And that baby don't have no protection at all. And the first thing that death witch tell you, that pediatrician, that witch, are you taking your prenatals? It's all the good stuff that you're probably not getting in your products that's killing you too. So I think the Most High for a platform to just to talk common sense, just to talk about this. Okay, control what goes in your temple. I can't stress that enough, brothers and sisters. If you don't have control over anything, you have a control of what you put in your body. I don't care what the pressure is. They're going to try to put pressure on you. Well, your child not going to be able to go to school. Or would you rather have a blank brain child that sitting there like a vegetable? That's what you would rather have? The government don't have to deal with your child suffering every day. You have to deal with that. Come on. Talk to me. What's next?
Next, talking about protecting what you put in your temple, right?
Yeah.
We're almost done with the news.
Yes.
This is from organicandhealthy.com.
Okay.
This is crazy. Title: Australia may become first country to begin microchipping its public. Okay, now this is someone kind of trying to do what we do, giving their take on regular news.
Yeah.
This was originally reported from news.com.au. So Australia's top news corporation, this was reported there, okay? And basically in a nutshell, what it's saying is that Australia, how they're going to be rolling out the so-called RFID chip is by way of having those look at it as a quote-unquote superhuman ability. You'll be able to unlock doors. You won't need to remember pesky passwords and PIN numbers. You understand? You won't lose your bank card or your store credit card, discount card, and all those types of things. Okay? So that's what that's going into.
So they're fast track Australia. Australia is really one of the beta testers they have for the New World Order. Okay? Right out. The beta test is usually Australia. Okay, so now they're fast track Australia with the same fake gun shootings that they had. You understand? And that's why, they took the guns there too. Okay, the same thing. Don't think that these things are organic in America, what's being reported here. They've already beta tested these same scenarios with the population in Australia. Okay? And now they had some fake shootings in Australia not too long ago, right? And now they're testing the mark of the beast. That's what the scriptures call it. The mark of the beast system. After they crash the currency, the world currency, they're moving in to the mark of the beast system, in which no man could buy or sell without the RFID chip. Okay, that's actually connected to digital angels, satellites out in space. Okay, so you're not going to be able to do anything unless you're connected with the beast. Revelations breaks this down. You need to read it. Okay, Revelations 13 goes all the way into this. Okay, the mark of the beast system is here. Okay, they just need to disarm a large number of the population, and they have to also, take care of or pinpoint those who would be against this technology. Once they flatline the dollar, we're used to spending without currency anyway. So the grid is already set with the internet, with the fake internet thing they got going now, where now the regulation and all that have been turned over to an independent body. So now the internet will soon be controlled. Okay, where conversations like this and truth awareness is now dissent or quelled or destroyed or stomped out altogether. So because why? They need the internet as their what? That's their grid for the complete mark of the beast system. That's the electronic grid of spending and connecting. Okay, so now Australia has it, and now it won't be too long before America have it. Okay, that's where we're going. Mark of the beast. Do not get this. Okay. Do not get the mark of the beast, because it's deeper than just spending or what they claim. Oh, well, if you fall out, the doctor can now scan your hand and find out exactly what medications you want or what you are allergic to. Listen, who cares about that?
Right.
How many people really go through that where you fall out somewhere and if your grandmother got dementia and wanders off, you can find your grandmother. You're killing grandmom. You're euthanizing grandmom. You don't care about grandmom. Okay, so come on with that crap. All right, you're really looking to implement a system of control over the population. The Bible calls it the mark of the beast. And those who take this mark of the beast, you will die, you will actually get destroyed in the lake of fire before the angels, as Revelations 14 breaks down. Okay, that's what's coming here. So this system is a satanic system. Reject the mark of the beast. Okay, what's next?
Last up here.
Yes.
It says, where's this from? This is from anonhq.com. It says company.
Okay. I want to say something real quick. There's someone in the chat disrupting. Okay. This. Okay. I want to put this out there. Please don't disrupt. Be very respectful of this. Okay. We're providing you a plethora of information and teachings amongst our church. Okay. And we don't deal with no disruptions. I'm just going to be respectful as I can to you. If there's something that you don't agree with, that's fine. But let's not deal with it in the chat. Okay? Come on, let's go.
Last article.
Yes.
Company wants to develop GMO humans by 2017.
Say it again.
Company wants to develop GMO, that's genetically modified humans, by 2017. That's next year. Okay.
By 2017. That's genetically modified what?
People. Okay.
Genetically modified people by 2017.
Yeah, so-called 2017.
So that means there's genetically modified people walking around. And you all know that what the Bible calls Nephilim, that's what genetically modified people are. Okay? They're trying to change the natural makeup. Like, what's wrong with people the way the Most High made people? No one wants nothing genetically modified. Anything that's modified, spliced, anything that's outside of the course of the Most High is evil. What they need is hosts for these demons that are released from the river Euphrates, like Revelations speak of. These demons that have been released. And we're going to be going into that this coming academy. Let me give you a list, brothers and sisters, of the lessons that we have coming for you. And guess what? We have a lot of weeks to go, and we have 6 new lessons infused within this. It's probably going to be one of our more in-depth academies to date. We all went through creation the first week, the creation of the universe, tracing the serpent seed last week, right? This week, we're going into the split between Judah and Israel and the seed of the promise, breaking down the promise that was given from the beginning, the purpose of that promise, and how even though Israel is split, the promise will still go to those same exact people. And we're going to identify that today. Then week 4, who is Edom? Right? You're used to that one. Check this out. Here's the new lesson. Islam and Judaism exposed. So not only will we go into Islam, we're going into the religion of Judaism, and to show you what the Zionist is hiding, the God they truly believe in. We're going to go into what Jewish people really believe in the synagogues. Oh, and guess what? Week 6, the breakdown on modern day Christianity, and we're going to also fuse that with the Left Behind doctrine to show you the deception behind the Left Behind doctrine of being raptured before some antichrist is revealed, right? And then week 7, we're going into the Israelite doctrine. The Israelite doctrine is going to go into all the doctrines during Christ's time that were amongst Hebrew Israelites. And so that you can now relate to all the groups out there and to know what faction they really belong to. Christ or Antichrist. That's going to be week 7. Week 8, the apostles' doctrine. So right after we go into breaking down all the people who are Israelites, but they're really dealing with false doctrine, we're going to show you the true doctrine of the apostles the following week, the following week, right? And we're going to break down who is Christ and what differentiates Christ's Israelites from all others. After that, week 9, I'm going to be excited for this. The judgment of the gods. Okay? We already went into the understanding of how the gods came to this earth. Now we're going to go into breaking down the time periods according to Jubilees of when they came, and the judgment time according to prophecy of how they will be judged at the end in the book of Revelations. Week 10, we're going to go into the sacred books and break down the sacred books and give you the history on the sacred books that the Vatican called non-canonical, which you are supposed to be reading. Week 11, we're going into the 4 beasts of Daniel, break down all of the empires that were set in place to rule God's people until the coming of Christ. And last but not least, week 12, Revelation, the end of the nations, empires on earth. The end of all empires on earth. And give you a 7-year breakdown according to scriptures of how Christ is going to take down this earth before the kingdom is established. Man, this academy, brother, is going to be biblically packed. Understanding in the heights. So there's no longer a time in which we will be going into just milk. It's time to just let that meat out there. Now that the churches are coming together, the churches are being established, a few shakings are going on, but all in all, people are coming together, and the church is uniting like never before. So it's time to bring it. Okay? So, brothers and sisters, thank you for joining this journey, for being on this ride. This academy could not be the same. It wouldn't be the same without you. And we would like to say a humble thank you all. Okay? Now, are you ready? All right. We're going into week 3 of our Hebrew and Bible Academy. The lesson, the seed of promise, and the split between Judah and Israel. Hold tight.